Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you, honey.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
It's lovely teas. Love it. Perfect amount of honey.
It's Nani Land honey.
I sure don't know what that means.
Me either, but it's pretty yummy. Comes from a tropical place, I think.
I heard me the butt.
Yep.
Is that what you said?
No.
What did you say?
Nothing, I don't remember. Anyway, welcome to another episode
Of Driving to the Res.
with your favorite hosts, Larry.
And Inelia. You knew what I was going to do.
I did. Preempted you.
You did indeed. You did indeed.
Right.
So you're going to be listening to this first section of our podcast, which is free. Mm-hmm. And if you enjoy it, you can totally come and sponsor us by becoming a Subscribe Star member.
Yeah, patron of the light.
Yes.
Patron of the light. Right. Mm-hmm. This episode, I'm not sure what I believe you call it your Enlightenment.
Yes.
Is based on the newsletter article that you've written.
Yes, indeed.
And you can find that at
Substack.
Yeah, we put it at Substack.
Indeed.
So it's easy to find. You go Substack, type in Enelia Benz, and ta-da, there it is. Mm-hmm. So we'll do a little bit of read of the article. We'll talk about it a little bit in the second hour.
We're going to
have a bit of a treat this time.
Yes. We're going to have some other individuals joining us in the second hour. That's going to be a surprise if you want to know who they are. Because Adelina and Ilia are busy having a baby.
Yes, indeed.
Their baby's about to be born. So they're going to be very busy doing that, not recording podcasts for a while. Newborn babies are a handful. So we're looking forward to meeting the new baby in the future.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so now you know where to go to get more. You know where to go to read it. Mm-hmm. And let's get on with it. Let's
do this. All right.
Okay.
Your Enlightenment.
Your Enlightenment. Boy, that's a loaded question there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Enlightenment has been coming up a lot for me recently. The word enlightenment itself, as well as people talking about it and people pursuing a path or being on their journey of enlightenment themselves or seeking one, all those coming into my focus fast and furious.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is very interesting to me because, as you may or may not know, my first website and the first course I released were all about Ascension. In fact, it was ascension101.com. And Enlightenment and Ascension, of course, are very well related.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I remember reading about Ascension 101. I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah. So that's good because one of the first things we're going to do is to actually define the different things. In this article, I want to clarify and bring focus to what it means to be enlightened, ascended, empowered, and sovereign. Okay.
Enlightened, ascended, empowered, and sovereign.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I hear these terms used as identities, often.
Yeah.
So some interchangeably and some it's almost like that's my name tag. I'm whatever.
Ascended.
I'm a sovereign.
Sovereign. Yeah. So this is really interesting because, like you said, a lot of people use them interchangeably. They mean different things to different people. Mm-hmm. But I think also a lot of it gets wrapped up in dogma. And that can be a good thing or could be a bad thing. But to me, it kind of puts in the brakes on, And we're going to talk about
because
that
when you say a word like ascension, I'm I don't really have any baggage around that word. I don't even have any idea what it means.
What that might mean,
spiritually or physically or whateverly. But when you say enlightened, I'm oh, that's what Buddhist monks do, right? They get enlightened. So it has some attachments around it.
Right.
Preconception, right? Mm-hmm. And ascension kind of feels like, for some people, I think ascension does have that baggage. And I think in the Bible, I think there's 144,000 ascendeds or whatever, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. I've heard something around that and attached to the word ascension or ascended.
What about empowered?
And I've empowered, well, it doesn't, have anything linked to it in my mind. It's like, in some ways, empowered in my field feels like an admission of not being powerful. So if you say you need to get empowered, that means you're not powerful. So it kind of like negates itself in my mind.
And if you are empowered, then what does that mean? They used to not be powerful, and now you are?
Means to me, like, if you are, it's like, already did it, already that. It's like, it doesn't have a call to me. It's like, you need to be empowered. It's like, I am. Right? So let's do this as empowerment work. And like, it has a breaks. It's like, yeah, I don't need to. I don't want to. I feel powerful already. I don't want to accept the idea that I'm not already, or I ain't, or I'm not enough or something, So it's a little bit like the fear processing exercise. It has a firewall.
Yeah, that's interesting because you didn't say those things about enlightenment and ascension, but you did about empowerment. So.
I'm sure everyone's going to have their individual, like I said, with ascension. For me, it didn't mean anything. I never heard of it.
What about sovereign?
Well, it's linked to the king and the queen, and the prince and the princess, and Disney co-opted all the sovereign stuff for me. So it has to do with princess dresses and tiaras and frogs and princes. And
okay.
It's just cartoon word, really.
All right. Yeah. So,
but also, as I've gotten into telegrams and whatnots, sovereign means a whole nother thing. It's like, now I don't let the cops tell me what to do.
Yeah. So that's one of the words that has become also dogmatized.
Yeah,
I
totally.
Should say. Because when I talk about a sovereign being, it means somebody who's in charge of their own life and their own creations, and is conscious about making conscious choices. But in the modern world, a sovereign is a whole group of people who talk about how they're a natural being and they will not, like something about the law and the natural law, birth certificate,
and your name in all capitals, and all kinds of.
And some of those things are interesting to me, but they're not what I use sovereign as. And also, to me, they can take you down a path that is not very helpful for you. Because if you're on a road that somebody, an organization, and a government or whatever built, you're on their road. So if you're in their space, abide by their laws, right? That's how I see it. Whether you consider yourself being a natural human or not, it's irrelevant if you're using somebody else's land, right?
Guess so.
In their road. So that, to me, like, they do have some interesting information as far as I have read, but I would be very, very careful if you base your interactions with others based on that particular thing. So just be careful, do your research. But the way that I use it is actually related to enlightenment, ascension, empowerment, and sovereignty related to all that, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. My more mature understanding of all of these terms linked, they are an embodiment of that enlightenment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But they have been, I won't use the word hijacked, they've been used to mean other things too.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we understand what we're talking about when you say XYZ, right? So when you defined ascension in the way that was literal expansion of awareness, I could go, I'll jump on board with that. You can always expand your awareness more.
Right.
Right.
And to me, enlightenment is also related to the expansion of awareness.
Yes.
And to me, oneness is also related to the expansion of awareness.
Yes.
And to me, empowered is also related to the expansion of awareness.
Yes, I agree too.
And to me, sovereign is also related to the expansion of awareness.
Completely and totally.
Yeah.
So what I see a sovereign being in the sense of ascension, enlightenment, empowerment, all of that, it's more along the lines of there's a invitation to engage, and I'm existing in my high frequency space, and the engagement includes those around me, and as a sovereign, empowered, high frequency being with the ability to experience enlightened encounter this information from this other person, which maybe you shouldn't go down this road. I'm not going to say, well, I'm a sovereign, I'm going to go there anyways, because I have access to the full gamut of information available from this interaction of this encounter. This is data for me.
Right.
Not someone pushing on me, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Not the victim aggressor stuff.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, I think I've explained how I feel about it now.
Okay. These are understood as different things sometimes, and sometimes they're not. However, to me, they're all part of the same thing. They're part of an expanding of our awareness enough to understand the universe, how things work in this and other universes, expand our awareness enough to see, identify, and not be slaves to inner and outer programming, and be able to make conscious choices throughout our days. It means that our awareness is expanded enough so that we grow up as people and don't behave like children, expecting solutions from a larger thing such as an organization, a government, a god or gods, or other people.
That reminds me of the show we were watching.
Oh,
the
gosh,
guys
yes.
getting their truck stuck in the mud. I know. I talk about trucks in the mud a lot. But these were roads in Africa, trucks stuck in the mud in the Congo and whatnot. And invariably, this fellas, younger and older and all different ages, would be in this. I think they called it a truck, but remember this, like, there's no windshield. The thing's all crumpled up. And, it's 1948 was a truck, and now it's just a thing still held together and moving some of the time.
They have wheels.
With wheels in place to sit down, sort of. Some of them, less floor, more floor. But all states of repair and disrepair, driving on what is being called a road, which is really a trail that used to maybe one time be a road, but now it's just a way through the forest or whatever, right? Or the regular paved road with holes big enough to take the toll truck into. And always, the reason the roads are so bad is because the government. It's always their fault. Yeah.
Yep. I want to go back a little bit. Let me just read this other little bit.
Okay, sure.
They are a part of expanding our awareness enough to understand the universe, how things work in this and other universes, expand our awareness enough to see, identify, and not be slaves to inner and outer programming. Yeah. Now, I want to expand that a little bit because often when people hear that, and I've said it in many, many different ways, they immediately think, oh, I have to remove all my programs. All programs are negative and I have to remove them all. And that's not what I say at all. Like zero. I never say that. Not
once. I mean, I assumed that's what you meant too. A long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I asked, it's like, well, then what do we do with no programs?
Right. So what I'm saying is don't be slave. What is a slave?
Powerless to, victim of someone else's will, right? Yeah. So someone gives you or programs you in a way, you're a slave to that program they've given to you.
And even if you receive that program or program it yourself, you don't have to be a slave to that program.
Right. You can use the programs that benefit you and your high frequency expression. Keep them.
Yeah.
You can discard, eliminate, illuminate, whatever, make visible the unconscious programs that get in the way of your higher frequency expression.
Yeah.
Right. The program that many have, which has been placed there by literally every TV show, movie there is, when things are stressful, what do? You go get a drink.
Yeah.
When things are great, what do?
They drink
You
alcohol.
go drink some alcohol. When things are anything, what do?
They go and drink
Some alcohol. So that's a subconscious, unconscious program that got stuck in there for a lot of people. So
Yes.
that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like to watch
That'd be an
shows
example of it.
and spot the programs that are being
The programs being
programmed.
implemented. Programmed.
Yeah, we like to do that.
Yeah.
There's some fascinating ones. Smoking is coming back, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I heard it's good for you.
Yes. Well, our experience hasn't been that.
Some, I've heard some of it's good for you.
Anyways.
I've heard some of it is not good for you.
Yeah. So in this moment, I wanted to bring forth a question from Walk With Me Now. One of our members asked, I can't figure out the unconscious programming, because if it's unconscious, then it's not my free will. Okay.
Oh.
Or something like that, and from that level. So it can't be free will if it's an unconscious program, or how does it work? How does it function? So I have a couple of little examples for that answer.
Okay.
If I understood the question correctly.
Okay.
So basically, an unconscious program is a program that you've implemented in yourself but decided to forget. And a really good example would be when you learn to drive, you're conscious and aware of every single step you do.
Gosh, yeah, and you're really not that great at it either.
Right. So, okay, turn on the engine, look through my mirrors,
Oh,
put
shoot,
on the
you
blinker.
forgot the clutch, honey. Push in the clutch, then start the engine, remember?
Oh, gosh.
Get this order right.
Totally.
Okay.
Press
In
the clutch.
Now start the engine. Wait. Should make sure it's in neutral.
Oh, yeah, because we're driving
Because when you
a
let the
stick
clutch
one.
back out, yeah, you're going to like...
Oh, yeah, we're driving a stick car, right. Okay.
So
Yes.
put in the clutch, make sure it's in neutral. Now start it. Now you can let the clutch out.
Because it's in neutral.
Don't
it's
forget to
fine.
hold the brake,
Okay.
because otherwise you'll be rolling.
No, because if you're using one of those cars, you have your handbrake on.
Don't forget,
Duh.
then you have to put your handbrake on.
No, you're not yet. Not yet.
There's a lot of things
Now you
you
look
got to
through the
remember.
mirrors. And then if there's nothing coming, you put your blinker on.
Don't forget to take your handbrake off.
And
Yes,
then
yes.
you start pressing the gas and take your hand off, your brake off, so that you can
What about
not
your
roll
clutch? Don't forget your clutch. And you forgot to put it in first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So there's a lot of steps, right? And when you're first starting to drive, you're conscious and aware of all of those steps.
Yep.
And then once they're programmed in,
They're one
you
step.
just go to the store.
You just go to the store and the steps in the middle.
And often you remember getting in your car and you remember getting out of your car at the store, but you will not remember everything that happened in between. And that's unconscious programming.
Yes.
Because you don't need to have them in the front of your awareness, consciously thinking and putting them on, switching them on and off on a regular basis, on a continuous basis. So they're unconscious. So I hope that explains what I
Yeah, they're not bad. They're useful.
Yeah.
But some of them are.
Some of them are bad. Yeah. They're not necessarily bad, let's say. So, yeah. You actively program yourself and you actively accept programs from others or your environment or your whatevers. When you come into this physical world as a soul, you and your body programmed how to function with each other. And you are already, by being in the physical universe, you accept there's several programs that are absolute, actually. Like, in a way, they're not actually absolute, but they tend to be felt that way. Like, you're not going to float unless you have a floating device on. Mm-hmm. Your physical body will not float up into the sky. That's like a kind of absolute, right? You can break actually that program, but it takes a little bit of expansion of awareness for you to do that.
Yeah, that reminds me of the hopping.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about hopping.
I know, but remember?
Float for a millisecond.
Float for a millisecond?
No, not that.
No, not that.
Okay.
That was cute, though. It's a good try.
It was a good try.
I'm sure it was a lot of fun, too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Enlightenment to me does not mean extricating yourself from the physical universe, reincarnation, or daily life. On the contrary, it is about understanding the physical universe in daily life and having the awareness, capacity, consciousness, and power to have the type of experience we choose from moment to moment, rather than just leaves in the wind thrown wherever the collective experience sends us.
Right. So one of the things that comes with that statement is the purpose of enlightenment, as I understood it, which was to had something to do with karma, and everyone needed to be it, and you had to keep coming back here until everyone was enlightened, so that they could,
As a bodhisattva.
exit the reincarnation cycle, because that's the goal, of course.
For bodhisattvas, yes.
But not until everybody goes, whether or not they want to. We just have to wait around for them to change their mind, I guess, or convince them or something.
Well, that's not actually enlightenment. That's the path to enlightenment of a bodhisattva. Yeah. This is all Buddhist teachings.
Remember, it got me confused, which is the point that I'm trying to get at, is like, I did have an enlightenment experience.
You did, yes.
And it wasn't saving everybody or waiting for everybody or getting out of karma or removing myself from a cycle of reincarnation or incarnation.
Or even work. You're actually working.
Work. Right. And in that experience, right, the knowing of, I guess, the I say larger reason, but what I really mean is the expanded perspective for an experience encounter became known, you know, and it at all the levels, it was perfect. One, it was experienced within it. One, it was experienced for what's the reason. One of it was an experience, and one of it was that it really wasn't anything. It was all those levels of these funny words, but in a sense, every bit of its experience was interesting at whatever level it was experienced at. But it felt like having those experiences at the smaller level was as important, if not as not important. You know what I mean by is it important as the other? Yeah. It had no more importance or less importance to see it expanded or not. But from the expanded sense, you could, I guess, move out of the judgment of that experience as being bad or good or some of this other. It's just like, now it's clear why. While you're experiencing it, you're experiencing the effects of it. When you're looking at it from the enlightened space, you're seeing it from a larger perspective of why maybe you want to have that interaction. But can
you give an example? Because
it's kind of hard to understand what I'm trying to say because of the nature of these experiences.
Right.
Essentially, let's break it down. In this particular case, I was fishing on my boat, and I was listening to what I call expansive. It puts me in an expanded set of awareness music. And I was reading information that had to do with ecstatic experiences and expansion of awarenesses. Some of your book, another one. And they were all about expansion, illumination, enlightenment, that type of a thing. So I was in that giant space of opening, and welcoming and desiring an open, bigger experience. Also, concurrent to that, there was zero fish biting, like zero from 500 fish the day before to zero, none, all freaking day. It'd been like 5 hours, none, zero. And the guys that were working with me in the back were listening to, well, let's just say
demon seeding,
demon music. It wasn't like, it was in, you can't even describe it any other way. It's as demonic as you could possibly find.
Yes.
And disheartening, contracting, just nasty, horrible music. Yeah. Loud. And so disparity between the two experiences. The one in my wheelhouse was what I was seeing, and there was no fish, but the sun was shining, the sky was blue, the ocean was flat, and the waves and the water were sparkling like little diamonds.
Yes.
It was the most beautiful experience, indescribable. It's like an entire lifetime of being on the sea. That one moment was what you would want for. And from that moment on, I didn't need to go to the sea ever again. It's already been the best of everything that it could possibly be. Yes. And there was no fish. But when all of a sudden expansion to an enlightened state. Mm-hmm. The reason for all of the demon music in the back and why that was happening, and the fish and the connection to the fish and their collective and the information they send and receive, and the purpose for where, whatever, all that stuff just became known, you know? Mm-hmm. And so the music, it wasn't for me to impinge on me. It was for my crew to stay in the state that they want to experience. They want and are here for that experience. They're not here for an enlightened, sparkly diamond ocean experience. They're here for another one. And then it needed these things to keep it.
Yes.
And especially in the place that they were sharing, there's needed to be more strongly contractive than normal. Just to keep them at the level they want to experience. Mm-hmm. So from there, I was like, oh, it's clear. I understand. And I can accept. And from within it, it created some tension. Mm-hmm. And the tension needed attention, actually. And moving into an enlightened state for a moment allowed the tension to get its attention and release it, untangled. It's interesting, too, since that time, I haven't been fishing.
That's true.
And those guys haven't fished with me either.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
It is interesting. I never really put those pieces together, but hey, that's what happened. And that was the last day fishing.
Yeah, it was. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to put a cap on the story, the fish told me where to go.
Yes, and then you got some nice
and I went there and I got about 500 fish that day, just in the last part of the day instead of the whole day. So I still got all the fish. The fish still talked to me.
Yes.
But I couldn't hear them at that moment because of the tension.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how that fits into enlightenment and your enlightenment and this story, but what I'm trying to describe is enlightenment isn't, in my experience, something you're that and then that forever and you carry and hold that state. You have your experiences as you're here. Mm-hmm. And in expanding and contracting and breathing, it can make this experience of now way more pleasant.
Yes.
Way more pleasant. But I don't want to exit those. I don't want to exit this experience. I would like this experience to be pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I think.
And the choice to step out of the expanded awareness state of enlightenment, that was your choice. You chose that. And I suppose we can talk a little bit about that because we love journey books, right?
Oh, yes.
We love it.
I have a stack of them.
And yeah, we do.
We're reading one right now.
Yeah.
Journey, yeah.
We love the journey books. And often in these journey books, you have people deciding to come back to their previous awareness state so they can share it with everybody. And we talk a lot about that, those moments of enlightenment, the pros and cons, and not to be hijacked, because it can be hijacked very easily in the in-between spot. Mm-hmm. In our enlightenment class. So I would highly suggest that if this is a topic that you like, to make sure to take that class. You can get it at ineliabenz.com. You can buy the class there. Or if you want to have interaction and study with others
and things like that.
And then go to our Subscribestar. We don't just do the second hour in Subscribestar. There's another tier that has a class in focus every month, and there will be a class added to the library and studied together. And the Enlightenment class was actually a live class we did in Subscribe Star that we will be doing in the future sometimes. We might do a live class there too. But anyways, go there, get the class, either way, which way you want to. And study it, because yes, those moments of expanded awareness can very easily be hijacked, especially by our ego. And often when people ask me, what is enlightenment or being enlightened, the word itself and the way that I would explain it was to be in the light. And when you're in the light, you have to be careful, because sometimes you're in the light and your light is so bright that it makes you blind to everything else. So it can very quickly degrade into the opposite, you know?
Yes, so that's like the crazy part, because
yes,
it doesn't make logical sense from this state of thinking how that can happen, but it does.
It does.
If it does, then it means that we don't clearly understand it, I guess.
Right. And in the next few weeks, I'm going to be talking about this in more depth with regards to enlightenment, just enlightenment, on our essays. And I also do an essay, apart from this newsletter, I have another newsletter just dedicated to essays. Essays are really like a really long article. It's not like, the newsletter is like a page or maybe a page and a half or maybe 2 pages, but an essay will go 8 pages long or longer. So if you're like reading, or you like this topic and want to explore it more, you can do the other newsletter, also free. And I'll be writing more on that. And we're going to be doing first and second halves of our podcast around them too.
So anyway, Woo for Thought. Yeah,
that's Woo for Thought.
It's on the same link.
Substack. Yeah.
On the Substack. Same link at the top of the page, you'll see it. It says Woo for Thought.
Yeah. Let's read a little bit more.
Okay.
So I'm going to just repeat the last bit. In this article, I want to clarify and focus to what it means to be enlightened, ascended, empowered, and sovereign.
Yes.
These are understood as different things sometimes, and sometimes they're not. However, to me, they're all part of the same thing.
Okay.
They're part of expanding our awareness enough to understand the universe, how things work in this and other universe, expand our awareness enough to see, identify, not be slaves to inner and outer programming, and be able to make conscious choices throughout our days. It means that our awareness is expanded enough so that we grow up as people and don't behave like children, expecting solutions from larger things such as an organization, a government, a god or gods, or other people. Enlightenment, and this is the new part. Enlightenment to me does not mean oh no, it's not. I already read this part too. Does not mean extricating yourself from the physical universe, reincarnation, or daily life. On the contrary, it's about understanding the physical universe and daily life, and having the awareness, capacity, consciousness, and power to have the type of experience we choose from moment to moment, rather than just leaves in the wind, thrown wherever the collective experience sends us. I just want to add a little bit there.
Okay.
I know I'm repeating these things over and over. So one of the things is about enlightenment. A lot of the definitions of enlightenment by many teachers and religions and dogmas means the escaping the cycle of birth and death, right?
Yeah.
So, or being able to step away from the cycle of birth and death. That's reincarnation. When I looked at that sentence, it was very clear to me what it meant, but to other people it meant you're never going to be born again. And I know because I've talked about this topic with other people who are on a path of enlightenment, to enlightenment. And to them meant, I'm done being incarnating, I'm done with it, so I don't need to come back, and I'll be free from it. But what I saw was that when you're enlightened, you can make a conscious choice of incarnating or not incarnating, and why, and what you want to experience. When
Right.
you're not enlightened, i.e. you're still you forgot a lot of your programming, so you're unconscious of them. You're stuck because you keep coming back.
Maybe
Right.
to fulfill an old idea or
ideas.
thought.
Exactly.
You haven't.
And to be able to fulfill that thought or idea or desire, you purposely forgot that you wanted it so that you wouldn't pull yourself out of it. Right? So
So it's kind of true and not true, but it is.
Enlightenment,
it moves it to a choice.
Yeah,
right?
it's a choice. It's a conscious choice, not an unconscious choice.
You might still very likely incarnate, but maybe under different circumstances.
Yes. Yes.
And not just through an unconscious program. Because, yeah, that's one of the keys. I think most people believe they die, then they have instantly reached a state of some enlightenment or oneness or something or other. They can see everything clearly all of a sudden, when that's clearly not the case.
No. For the next few weeks, I'm going to take turns talking about enlightenment, ascension, empowerment, and sovereign. To me, they're all lead to the same location in many ways. To me, they mean the same thing looked at from different perspectives. They are, to me, all enlightenment. But the word enlightenment comes with thousands of years of religions and spiritual practices that can put a person off because they have had negative experiences around religions. In the spirit of bringing back a broad understanding of and highlighting path to enlightenment, I will be writing essays about these subjects on my Woo for Thought blog, and will also be looking at them from the perspective of the we. I'm also putting together a website specifically dedicated to enlightenment, because one of my biggest sources of inspiration and passions in life is to see people, reach enlightenment.
Yes.
Or at least get into the path that works for you and that will eventually get you there. To get you ready and have a good foundation for the discussions that are coming in the essays and podcasts that will accompany them, make sure you have studied the Enlightenment in Modern Society class. Oh yeah, that's the name of the class. Yeah.
Enlightenment in Modern Society. I mean, there's a lot in that class.
There's a lot in that
is
class.
A lot longer than a let's do an hour class. That was like 2.5 hours.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
And everything you need in a nutshell's there.
Yeah.
And with that good foundation, allowing and joining this dialogue, from a place of comprehension and similar understanding, that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see you there.
Yeah.
And I think in a snap or two, we're going to have a surprise second hour.
Yes,
if you're in the second hour.
If you're in the second hour, see you in a few seconds with a surprise.
Yeah, it's going to be a full house.
Yes.
You got to see it. Okay, see ya.
Bye.